So the message from New Delhi is clear. Come with proof or do not bother. But how will Canada take it? So far, their strategy has been aggressive. Do first, think later. That's what they're doing. Maybe Trudeau was hoping the pressure will get to India, that New Delhi will cave. But he was mistaken. India has reacted very sharply to Justin Trudeau's allegations, a sort of no-nonsense response. Instead of going on the back foot, India is taking a step forward. There are two parts to this response. One, a complete denial. When you deny something, you can do two things. You can either say you are mistaken, or you can say you are lying. India is choosing the second option. New Delhi is not just saying that Trudeau is mistaken, they're saying that he is politically motivated. Listen to this.
Yes, I do think there is a degree of prejudice here, They have made the allegations, they have taken action on them. To us, it seems or it appears that these allegations by the Government of Canada are primarily politically driven.
The second part of the response is taking the fight to Canada, meaning it's not tit for tat anymore. It's about making the first move. Now consider the visa suspension. Canada has not stopped issuing visas to Indians, not yet. So India's decision was not a response, it was the first move. Put together, what do these strategies reveal? An aggressive foreign policy. Frankly, there is no other way to respond. Just think about it. India has handed over, in fact, multiple dossiers to Canada. Dossiers on wanted Khalistanis, their names, their pictures, their crime, all of it. Everything has been detailed in these files that have been given to Canada. We're talking about concrete evidence. And what has Canada done with it? Absolutely nothing. Yet the same Canada expects India to act with zero evidence. How is that fair? India has firmly called out this double standard. It's a sign of New Delhi's assertive foreign policy. We saw that on Ukraine too, and we're seeing it on Canada. Now, I know what you're thinking. India hasn't picked a side in the Ukraine war. How is that assertive? Well, assertive doesn't always mean picking sides. It can also mean picking yourself. And that's what India has done. The West has dangled many carrots in front of New Delhi: weapons, nuclear cooperation, lavish state visits. Yet India has refused to change its position. And that's called being assertive, putting your national interest over everything else. Same with Canada. India knows how dangerous the Khalistan movement is. We know what happened in the 1970s and 80s. We also know that the movement is dead in India. But it's important to keep it that way. Countries like Canada are home to the dying embers of Khalistan. Instead of putting it out, Trudeau is fanning it. He is linking it to freedom of expression, and that's a national security risk for India, because Khalistanis are free to organize and operate in Canada. So what's the obvious next step? Plotting attacks. In fact, some Khalistanis have already started threatening Indians in Canada. How long before they act on it? So it is important to call Trudeau out, to question his dangerous politics. But I must also say it's a risky strategy. Canada is a key Western partner. It is a treaty ally of the United States. If you take on Canada, you're taking on the West. So why is New Delhi doing this? Because India finds itself in a sweet spot. Western nations are increasingly focusing on the Indo-Pacific. They see China as a big challenge. And what has India done? Use this new equation to its advantage. Let me explain how. Canada's role in geopolitics has been shrinking. It's an aging economy, plus it's often taken for granted. The West does not even have to convince Canada for most things. They're usually already on board. India is quite different, though. It is the fifth largest economy of the world. It is a nuclear power. And it's not hesitant to rebuff the West. We saw that in Ukraine. And this makes India strategically tricky. The West can count on Canada's support on most issues, but they cannot count on India or take it for granted. Because New Delhi is not bound by their treaty alliances. India follows national interest, and don't mistake this sweet spot for luck. This is the result of decades of foreign policy and economic growth. Credit must also go to Indian politicians, opposition or government. They agree on foreign policy. There is continuity. They agree on national interest. Take these two examples, Ukraine and Canada. Both the opposition and the government in India are on the same page, and this gives the leadership a lot of confidence, a lot of freedom to stand their ground. Canada, it seems, is learning that the hard way.